Greetings and welcome to Monday, which is Labor Day today, September the 4th. And I guess we're supposed to be in for a hot one today, so stay cool. Today's devotion is entitled Jesus Healed a Man Afflicted with Leprosy. And again, there are multiple gospel book passages to go to here. They quote Mark 1:45. As a result, Jesus could no longer enter a town openly, but stayed outside in lonely places. Yet the people still came to him from everywhere. So being famous it's a double-edged sword. Some people want to come see you, and others, well, they just don't want to see you around. All of Jesus's healing miracles demonstrate his compassion for the suffering and validate the message he came to share. But how is this miracle unique? It changed the spaces in which Jesus interacted with those who came to him. Just a few verses earlier, we find those with various maladies coming to Jesus in the town of Capernaum where he was staying. Following his time on the mountain, Jesus returned to, quote unquote, one of the towns. At first, Jesus primarily went to where the people were in small towns and villages around the Sea of Galilee. This story changed that. A man afflicted with leprosy approached Jesus. The Gospels use this term for a variety of skin disorders. Jews of Jesus' day, like this man, followed the directions given in the Old Testament law. When the skin showed signs of a disease, they went to the priest for evaluation, not the local doctor, I guess. In some cases, the priest required that they isolate themselves from others while the disorder manifested itself. If their condition improved, they could return to the priest and get the all clear to return to society. Find that in Leviticus 13 and 14. The man who approached Jesus had a persistent disorder that left him both physically uncomfortable and socially ostracized. Jesus quickly healed him of the disease and then instructed him to seek the all clear from the priest. He also ordered him to keep the matter to himself. Guess what? He did not. And this changed the places Jesus could publicly minister. As expected, the news of the miracle increased the number of people coming to Jesus for healing. The sheer number of those in need increased so dramatically that Jesus could no longer meet them in towns. The limited size of the towns, the modest public space available for a gathering, as well as the limited access to food and water resources, caused Jesus to change ministry location. And as we read in Mark 1:45, as a result, Jesus could no longer enter a town openly, but stayed outside in lonely places. It's an interesting story. I don't know completely what to make of it, except when this gentleman who received an incredible miracle from Jesus was not obedient to what Jesus told him, it created a problem. I'll put it that way. It created a problem. Other people in other towns now were limited in contact with Jesus. They couldn't just go see him in their town. They had to find out on the grapevine, I guess, where he was now, because we need to see him. We have a need. We have an issue, a health issue, whatever. And so I wonder if many who would have gone to see him ended up not going to see him because because of the disobedience of one man. It seems innocent. Who wouldn't want to tell the story of being healed of leprosy, persistent leprosy? And yet Jesus told him not to, because he probably had a sense of where things would end up if this man started spreading the word around all over the place. Not only would people in need want to hear about it, but so would those who were his enemies. So it created an issue. Disobedience always creates an issue. Always creates an issue. Remember the gentleman Achan, after Jericho had been destroyed, and the orders were how to handle the things of Jericho. None of it was to be taken in a selfish manner. None of it was to be taken for personal good or personal gain. It was all to be an offering as unto the Lord. And yet Achan, well, he didn't like that. So in the rubble, he grabbed him some goodies, and he buried them in the sand, in the ground underneath his tent in order to hide them. When Israel went out to the next battle, to the city of Ai, which is completely puny compared to Jericho, they got whooped. They lost a lot of soldiers that day. And the immediate sense was, who sinned? Who broke the rules? Who broke the law? Who broke the command of the Lord back at Jericho? And in a series of tests and trials, the process whittled down to Achan. And not only had his sin caused all of Israel to suffer, it specifically caused him and his family to suffer. Disobedience is a problem. In the midst of God's people especially, disobedience is a problem. Jesus healed a man, but then after that good deed seemed to limit where he was able to go and to whom he was able to minister. Many came to him, but I wonder how many didn't because of this. Blessings to you today. It's a negative Monday, I guess, today for this devotion. But we need to recognize this reality, that it restricted Jesus. Now, this disobedience restricted Jesus and what he can do. It's the same within the church. It's the same within the body of Christ. When one sins, it negatively impacts the rest. Blessings to you today. It's a great encouragement to steer clear of sin in our lives. Blessings.